At a cousin's wedding, my wife pressed me into a corner of the hall and hissed, "Not a word today. Don't joke, don't look out, don't embarrass me with your appearance." I nodded silently. When the family photo was taken, she pulled me out of the frame and hissed, "This is for the family. And you're a nobody." Even the photographer froze. That same night, laughing with her friends on speakerphone, she said it stood there like an ugly accessory that no one asked for. I just smiled. But 2 weeks later, when she came to me in tears, there was a surprise waiting for her that she wasn't prepared for. Last weekend, I went to my cousin Evan's wedding, and I thought it'd be the first good thing to happen in months. I hadn't seen that side of the family in a while. Evan and I had grown up together. He was like a brother to me. So yeah, I was actually looking forward to getting out, dressing up, being around familiar faces again. Nora and we've been married for 7 years. Lately, though, it feels like I've been walking around our apartment holding my breath. Like any wrong word could set her off. Tension isn't even the right word anymore. It's more like quiet hostility with a smile on top. Still, I didn't expect what happened at that wedding. We had barely stepped into the reception hall when Nora pulled me aside. Not gently either. She cornered me near the hallway by the bathrooms, right where no one else could hear. "Don't speak tonight," she hissed. "Just don't. Don't try to be funny. Don't talk to anyone. And for God's sake, stop looking like you're uncomfortable in your own skin." Her exact words. I froze. What did that even mean? Uncomfortable in your own skin? I just looked at her, nodded once, and said nothing. 7 years of marriage teach you when it's better to shut up. We walked back into the room together, and I pasted on a smile that didn't reach my eyes. She gripped my hand so tight, I thought my fingers might go numb. Every time I shifted in my seat or looked like I was going to say something, she'd dig her nails in or give me a look, the kind that means, "Don't you dare." The ceremony was beautiful, or at least it looked like it was. I couldn't focus on anything. I kept replaying her words in my head. "Stop looking like you don't belong in your own skin." I used to think I did belong. With her. With the family. I didn't realize until that moment just how far I drifted. At the reception, I tried to talk to Zane, another cousin I hadn't seen in forever. We were literally mid-sentence, catching up, when Nora appeared out of nowhere and grabbed my arm. "We need to mingle," she said, tight-lipped. We didn't mingle. She dragged me to an empty table in the corner and started fixing my tie, like I was a child who couldn't be trusted to dress himself. I said nothing. I've learned that nothing buys peace, at least for a little while. Then came the toast. Everyone gathered for photos. My aunt, smiling, waved me over. "Adam, get in here with the cousins." I stepped forward. That's when Nora grabbed my arm. Hard. So hard I found finger-shaped bruises later that night in the shower. She yanked me backward and leaned in close. "This is for family," she said. "Not whatever it is you are. Whatever it is I am." She said it so flatly, so matter-of-fact, like it was the most natural thing in the world. The photographer hesitated. The camera lowered. The whole room sort of fell quiet, just for a moment. But it was enough. My aunt looked confused and said something like, "Oh, we'll do friends next," trying to smooth it over. My cousins just stared. Zane looked pissed. And Nora? She smiled, like she'd just swatted a fly, like I wasn't even worth the energy to be embarrassed. That moment stuck in my chest like a splinter. But I didn't say anything. I just stepped back and waited for the next group photo to start. Later that night, in the hotel room, I was in the bathroom with the door cracked. Not on purpose. It just hadn't clicked shut. Nora was on speakerphone with her friend Cecilia and someone else I didn't recognize. They were laughing. And then I heard it. She said I looked like some sad little prop someone forgot to move off the stage. Said my suit looked like I bought it last minute at a discount rack. Said introducing me to people felt embarrassing, like she had to apologize for me being there. I stood there with water running over my hands, staring at the sink. Not crying, not angry, just numb. When I came out, I smiled and asked if she had a good time. She said yes, kissed me goodnight, and passed out 5 minutes later. I lay awake till morning. That Monday, I was still turning that night over in my head when I logged in to pay bills. That's when I noticed something strange. A $437 withdrawal from our joint account. The timestamp said last Tuesday. I've been home all day. Nora had said she was out having lunch with her mom. Weird. I looked back at previous statements. More withdrawals. Similar amounts. Every couple of weeks. And all going to a credit card I didn't recognize. I called the bank. They couldn't tell me anything about that card. Not in my name. That's when it hit me. It wasn't our card. It was hers. Nora had always handled the finances. She said she was better with money. I believed her. Now I was looking at thousands. Almost $114,000. Gone. From our shared savings. The same account we were supposedly using for a house down payment. That's when the wall inside me started to crack. I waited until Wednesday night when she went out for drinks with her girlfriends. Then I did something I'd never done before in our marriage. I went through her stuff. I felt sick about it, I'm not that guy. But something was seriously wrong. I found receipts for expensive dinners I'd never been part of. Hotel valet slips from downtown. She'd told me those nights she was at her sister's. And in the bottom drawer of her nightstand, the old phone. The one she'd said was broken and meant to trade in months ago. It still worked. When I charged it and opened her messages, I found texts with her boss Jason that went back at least 8 months. And I wish I could unsee what I saw. Photos. Conversations. Plans to meet up while I was working late or out of town. One message in particular hit me like a punch in the gut. It was from the day of Evan's wedding. Jason, have fun with Mr. Wallpaper. Don't let him embarrass you. Nora, don't worry. He's muzzled. 3 more hours and then I'm free. 7 years. 7 years of my life. I took screenshots of everything. Photos. Bank statements. Receipts. Then I put it all back exactly how I found it. When she got home tipsy around 11, she kissed me on the cheek, said, "Miss me," and stumbled into bed. I sat on the couch until 3 a.m. just staring at the wall. I didn't sleep, but I knew exactly what I was going to do next. By Thursday morning, I had a plan. Nora still didn't know I'd seen everything. She was acting normal, too normal. Smiling more than usual, even being nice. Like she thought her performance at the wedding had faded from my memory. But every time she touched my arm or asked about my day, I could hear her voice in my head from that speakerphone call. I was so embarrassed introducing him. She had no idea what was coming. That afternoon, I called in sick from work. Used the time to open a new checking account at a different bank, in my name only. I transferred exactly half of our savings over. The rest was still in the joint account. I wasn't touching her share. Not yet. Then I made an appointment with a divorce attorney. I didn't even know where to start, so I just Googled someone with solid reviews. Her name was Caitlin, Kate for short. Our meeting was set for Monday morning, right before I was scheduled to leave for a work conference in Chicago. Or at least, that's what Nora thought. She believed I'd be gone from Monday to Friday. In reality, I was only flying out for the first day, then coming right back to town without telling her. I booked a cheap motel under a different name. I wanted space. I wanted to observe. I wanted to finish this with evidence, control, and no drama. That weekend, I spent hours organizing everything. Screenshots, financial records, photos of receipts, text message logs, timestamps, GPS data from her phone backups. Every time I felt like breaking down, I reminded myself, this is my insurance policy. My protection. On Sunday night, Nora was practically glowing. She ordered takeout from my favorite Thai place, poured me a glass of wine, and talked about how excited she was for our future. How great it would be when we finally bought that house. I nodded and smiled like a man who didn't know she'd been siphoning off our savings for hotel nights with her boss. She told me I looked tired. I said it was just work stress. She leaned in and kissed me. I kissed her back, and I hated how easy it was to pretend. Monday morning, I packed a small carry-on. Just enough to sell the illusion. She even offered to drive me to the airport, which was weird. She usually complained about traffic. But I agreed. Might as well let her play the supportive wife one last time. She kissed me goodbye at the curb and said she'd miss me. I told her the same. Then I walked inside, waited 15 minutes, and ordered a rideshare right back into town. By 11 a.m., I was checked into the motel on the edge of the city. No frills, beige walls, buzzing overhead light. But it was mine for now. My base of operations. At noon, I messaged Sarah, Jason's wife. I'd found her Instagram during my deep dive the week before. She had 2 kids under 5 and looked like she hadn't slept in a year. But there was something honest in her eyes. Something exhausted but sharp. I sent a polite message, "Hi, my name is Adam. I think we should talk. It's about our spouses." She replied within the hour. We met at a coffee shop near the university public place, neutral ground. I was nervous. What if she didn't believe me? What if I was about to ruin her life? But when I showed her the screenshots, she didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just stared at them, expression blank, coffee cooling in her hands. How long, she asked. 8 months at least. That's how far the messages go. She nodded slowly. I figured. I couldn't prove it. Turns out she'd been tracking Jason's location with an app for weeks. She'd noticed the gaps, the excuses, the sudden business trips. She was being gaslit daily. We talked for almost 2 hours. She told me Jason had been feeding her the same line. His marriage was basically over, but he was staying for the kids. Meanwhile, they just put down a deposit on a family vacation to Disney. I feel stupid, she said. You're not, I told her. You were just trusting the wrong person. That evening, I called my landlord to ask about ending the lease early. We were 2 months from renewal. Then I reached out to my cousin Zane and asked if I could crash at his place temporarily. He didn't hesitate. Whatever you need, he said. Also, what the hell happened at the wedding? I told him everything. The photo incident. The bruises. The texts. The stolen money. I held nothing back. He was furious. Apparently, my family had noticed something was off at the reception. Nora had been telling people that I suffered from social anxiety, that I had to be managed in crowds. That explained a lot, the dwindling invites, the awkward silences, the sense that I was being pitted instead of welcomed. Zane promised he'd start setting the record straight. Wednesday was follow the money day. I used the printed bank statements to trace every suspicious charge. Designer handbags. Fancy restaurants. Ride shares to and from hotels. Spa appointments. There was even a weekend getaway to a mountain resort during a time she told me she was visiting her sick aunt. I called her mom that afternoon, casually asking how Nora was doing after that March trip. Her mom was confused. What trip? They hadn't seen each other since Christmas. Another lie confirmed. That night, Sarah texted me again. She had confronted Jason with the screenshots I gave her. He denied everything. Then broke down. Then claimed it only happened once. She wasn't buying it. She took the kids and said she was staying with her sister until further notice. By Thursday, I was ready to start applying pressure. I called Nora from the motel and told her the conference was going well, but I might have to stay an extra day for networking. She sounded distracted, like she wasn't alone. When I asked who she was with, she said, just coworkers. Coffee after dinner. At 7:30 p.m.? Sure. Then I mentioned I'd seen some strange charges on our account while paying bills. She froze. There was a pause, 2 seconds too long. Then she launched into a story about how her mom needed emergency dental surgery. She forgot to mention it but promised she'd pay it back into the account. I recorded the whole call. Kate, my attorney, said if I could get her to admit to financial deception on record, it would help massively during the divorce settlement. The more I listened, the more I realized just how much she was willing to lie to protect her image. By Friday morning, I was ready to move. While she was at work, I went back to the apartment with Zane, packed up the essentials, my documents, my computer, a few clothes, family photos, and everything that was clearly mine. I didn't touch the furniture or her things. I wasn't there for revenge. Just freedom. And this was only the beginning. Friday afternoon, I was sitting in the tiny studio apartment I'd found through one of Kate's friends, small, beige, month-to-month lease, but it had a lock on the door that I owned and a bed that was mine. That was enough. Around noon, Nora called me out of the blue. Hey, when are you coming home from the conference? Her voice was light, almost casual, but something was off. I could hear it. Sunday, like we planned, I said. Why? She hesitated. No reason. Just, missed you. Then came the second question. Did you, move anything around in our bank account? I kept my tone neutral. Not that I know of. Why? There was silence, just a half-second too long, then she mumbled something about checking a weird transaction and needing to call the bank later. I played dumb. Told her I was about to head to a networking dinner. She said have fun, but her voice sounded strained. 30 minutes after we hung up, my phone started buzzing like crazy. Texts. Calls. Back-to-back notifications from Nora. Where's the money? Why did you transfer it? Are you hiding something from me? I didn't respond. A few hours later, my cousin Zane messaged me, bro, Nora's blowing up everyone's phones. Says she's worried about you. Telling people you've been acting weird. Asking if we've seen you lately. So that was the angle. Gaslighting. She couldn't explain where the money went, so she started painting me as unstable. Lost. Confused. Mentally unwell. The classic playbook. I knew it was coming. Kate warned me this could happen, especially with people like Nora who are obsessed with perception. Her image was everything. The moment it cracked, she had to twist the narrative. So I called Evan, the cousin who'd just gotten married, and told him everything. From the wedding bathroom confrontation to the bruises, the secret account, the affair with her boss, the fake stories about my mental health. He was stunned. Furious. Said he'd noticed Nora acting cold for years but didn't know how deep it ran. Promised to set the record straight with the family. By that evening, the messages changed tone. Instead of "Are you okay?" I was getting "I'm so sorry I believed her. We had no idea. She made you out to be someone you're not." Even my Aunt Rachel, who'd once told me to be more sociable, sent a text apologizing for misjudging me. Said she remembered the photo incident and how weird it felt at the time. One by one, the fog started to lift. Saturday came, and with it, the confrontation I'd been planning. I texted Nora that morning, "We need to talk when I'm back." She immediately called. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent a single screenshot. It was one of the tamer messages, her and Jason planning a hotel meetup during the weekend of my parents' anniversary. The one I missed because I was covering someone else's shift at work. Read receipt showed she opened it within seconds. No response for 3 hours. Then came the flood. Texts. Voicemails. All of them a different version of damage control. It's not what it looks like. It only happened once. I was lonely. You weren't emotionally present. Jason meant nothing. I didn't reply. Later that night, Sarah, Jason's wife, texted me. Said Nora had shown up at their house hysterical, demanding to speak with Jason. His parents were there. The kids too. According to Sarah, Nora was screaming about how Jason promised to leave his wife, how they were supposed to start a new life with my money. Let that sink in. By Sunday morning, I had 43 missed calls. A few from unknown numbers, Nora trying to reach me from friends' phones. One voicemail was nearly 5 minutes long, alternating between sobbing, apologies, and bizarre suggestions that we just talk in person like adults. That afternoon, I sent her another text. "I'm landing at 3. I'll be home by 4. We'll talk then." It wasn't a bluff. I knew she'd be waiting. When I got to the apartment, she had clearly gone into damage control overdrive. The place was spotless, unnaturally so. She was wearing the red dress from our last anniversary. My favorite meal was on the stove. Her mascara was perfect. The performance was ready. I walked in and she smiled like nothing was wrong. Gave me a hug. I stood still. "Adam," she started, her voice trembling slightly. I know we've had problems, but I never meant to hurt you. I just want to fix this." I let her talk. 20 minutes of promises, apologies, teary confessions about how she'd been going through something, how she'd lost herself, how she wanted us to go to therapy and heal. And when she was done, I just said, "I moved out." Her expression cracked. I continued. "I know about the money. I know about Jason. I've seen the messages. I've spoken to Sarah. The divorce papers are coming this week." She froze, mouth open. Then, "You're lying." I pulled out my phone. Opened the voice recorder. Hit play. Her voice came out crystal clear. From that night at the wedding. Laughing with Cecilia. Calling me an ugly decoration and a department store embarrassment. Her face dropped like a curtain being yanked. "You recorded me? I've been recording every time you acted like I was crazy. Every time you gaslit me. Every time you lied to my face and made me feel like I was nothing. I wasn't crazy. I just stopped ignoring the truth." She collapsed into a chair. Started begging. Then yelling. Then bargaining. Then accusing me of setting her up. It didn't work. I walked out. Blocked her number. Went back to the studio and sat in silence, listening to the quiet hum of traffic through the thin windows. That night, she emptied what little was left in our joint account, about $600. Didn't matter. The real money was already safe. I heard from Sarah the next day Jason had been placed on leave at work. HR had been notified of the affair. Apparently, there were ethics violations since he was Nora's supervisor. Nora didn't know I'd already told most of our mutual friends everything. That the group chat she used to control had already seen the screenshots. That even Cecilia had gone radio silent. She thought she was still in control. She had no idea she was standing in ashes. I knew she'd show up eventually. It was only a matter of time. Everything she'd built, her image, her relationships, her future plans, had started crumbling the moment the truth got out. She just didn't expect the silence. The rejection. The fact that no one came running to defend her. And then at 3:08 a.m. on Friday morning, the doorbell wouldn't stop ringing. Zane and I were both awake, he couldn't sleep, and I was finishing paperwork for Kate, my attorney. I glanced at the peephole. It was her. Nora. Barefoot, standing in sweatpants and a stained hoodie. Mascara smeared, hair tied up in a sloppy bun. In one hand she clutched a half-empty bottle of cheap wine. I texted Zane, "She's here." He replied instantly from the other room, "I got you." We opened the door together. Zane stood in the doorway blocking her path. "You're not coming in," he said calmly. "You can talk to Adam out here if he agrees." I nodded, stepped out, closed the door behind me. The hallway was quiet except for the soft hum of an elevator a few floors up. Nora was already crying, that weird breathless hiccup cry that doesn't sound real anymore. "Adam, please," she whispered, reaching for me. I stepped back. Her breath reeked of wine and desperation. "What do you want, Nora?" She looked stunned. As if I wasn't supposed to ask that. As if the answer should be obvious. First came the tears. The apologies. The performance. I made a horrible mistake. Jason meant nothing. I was feeling insecure. He chased me, Adam. He manipulated me. I'll go to therapy. I'll fix everything. I swear. I'll be the wife you deserve. I didn't speak. She went on, voice cracking, eyes wild. She talked about our apartment, our furniture, our photos, our vacations, like listing those things would remind me what we were throwing away. Then came the shift. The panic. I've been suspended from work. Jason's not answering. My credit cards are maxed. My parents won't help, not after what they found out. I can't even make rent next month. Please, Adam, please help me. Just until I get back on my feet. I stayed silent. And when none of that worked, she snapped. "You planned this, didn't you?" she hissed. "You set me up. You trapped me into saying things. You made everyone turn against me." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean you exposed yourself, Nora?" "I just stopped hiding it for you." She opened her mouth again, but I didn't let her continue. Instead, I pulled out my phone, opened the voice memo app, played the clip from the night of Evan's wedding, her laughing with Cecilia, calling me an embarrassment, saying she felt ashamed to introduce me. Her expression collapsed. She dropped onto the floor, sitting against the hallway wall like her legs just gave out. Her voice, when she spoke again, was almost a whisper. "What do you want from me?" I stared at her for a long moment. "Nothing," I said. "I don't want anything from you anymore. I just want a clean break. You need help. Real help." And this, I gestured to her, to the bottle, to the entire scene. "This isn't normal. This isn't okay. You can't fix it by showing up crying in the middle of the night." She nodded slowly. Is there any chance?" "No," I said simply. "There isn't." And with that, I walked back inside, closed the door, and didn't look back. I heard her sobbing outside for another 20 minutes before she finally left. Zane didn't say anything. Just made coffee. We sat together in silence until he finally looked at me and said, "You know what the difference is between you now and a month ago?" I shook my head. "You're standing up straight." He was right. The next week was a blur of final paperwork and more drama on Nora's end. She posted a long, vague message on Facebook about navigating personal challenges and needing privacy during a difficult time. The comment section was quiet. Turns out most of our mutuals had already seen the screenshots or heard the recordings. She tried showing up at my parents' house the next Sunday. My mom didn't even let her get past the front porch. "You don't get to hurt my son at a family wedding and then pretend everything's fine," she said. "You're not welcome here." By Monday, I got confirmation Nora had been officially terminated from her job. Jason, too. HR had finished their investigation. Turns out they'd used work trips as cover for their affair, billing meals, hotels, and transportation to the company. Sarah sent me a brief message. "Filed for full custody this morning. Thank you again. Truly." I didn't reply. Just smiled. Tuesday brought an unexpected letter. 16 handwritten pages from Nora dropped in my mailbox. 16. It was a list, disguised as a confession of every mistake she thought I made in the marriage. Too quiet at parties. Not ambitious enough. Didn't dress sharp enough for her coworkers. Spent too much time gaming. Wasn't husband material for the life she wanted. I didn't feel hurt reading it. I felt free. Because it confirmed what I already knew, it was never really about me. It could have been anyone. She just needed a man-shaped accessory to walk beside her. And when I stopped being silent, I stopped being useful. The divorce is in motion. Nora's trying to contest everything, but Kate isn't worried. With all the evidence, financial, emotional, digital, there's no case. It'll be finalized in a few months. In the meantime, I'm rebuilding. I moved into a small one-bedroom near the park. Started going to the gym again. Reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years, the ones Nora always said were bad influences. Even joined a local board game club. We meet once a month. And yeah, I met someone. Her name's Amelia. She's 32, works in publishing, and has 2 cats named Arya and Sansa. We met on Hinge. Our first date was just coffee, but I couldn't stop smiling the whole time. She knows about Nora, I told her. She didn't flinch. The other night, we were sitting in a diner, laughing about something dumb, and I realized I wasn't checking my phone. I wasn't bracing for a text. I wasn't filtering myself through someone else's approval. I was just me. And it felt like breathing again. Yesterday, Nora tried to call from another new number. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail saying she's moving back to her hometown soon and wanted to meet one last time for closure. I replied with one word. No. Some doors stay closed for a reason. Some ships, they don't sail. They sink.